Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back. It's Lex, and today we're going to be talking about Spider Man Across the Spider Verse. Yes, that is right. The second installment to the Spider Man animated Miles Morales franchise here. We waited since 2018 for the sequel, and it finally has arrived. It's really awesome to see Miles Morales coming back as well. I really want to get to see more of that character, especially since we're getting to see him in the video games, but they're kind of retelling that story in a different way. We get to see new characters coming along as well. People like Spider-Punk, a version of Spider-Man from India, and we also get to see the old cast come back like Spider-Gwen. It's really amazing to see these new characters coming into the franchise, and also good to see the old characters coming back for the sequel. I really love that this movie picks up really quickly. They don't waste any time as far as the narrative goes. I think they try to go as quickly as they can to get into the action in this movie. And they also show you the villain of the story, or it's gonna be the story. No spoilers, hopefully, of what's gonna be later down the road. And they just get into the action here, man. The pacing of this movie is really quickly, but it's very satisfying and smooth. A lot of the animation is eye-catching. I thought that a lot of the things they brought back, but they also added in a lot of, sometimes when I was watching the movie, they almost felt like claymation. I don't know if that had to do with the frame rate of the movie, or I don't know exactly how they animated it, but the lighting, the art design was super fantastic in this movie. It almost kind of surpasses what the first one did. I had to rewatch the first one once I came back home, because I really was excited to see and compare as far as what they've come, especially since the first one came out in 2018. This is coming out this year. So they've really gone ways from the first one and learned a lot from it, especially when it goes to lighting and dynamic effects of the movie. You can really tell with the actors that they're starting to get really settled into playing the characters, because it was voice acted perfectly. It was voice acted. You felt a lot of, when it became a lot of emotional scenes, you could really feel through the animation. Even if it is not a real person that you're seeing, you can really feel the emotion through the voices, through the characters. They were able to animate a lot of the facial features, especially around the eyes, the mouth, all around. You could really tell exactly how they were feeling in moments. There's one moment with Spider-Gwen is talking to her father, and there is super impactful. It was super, like, a very precious moment between them, and you can really feel that. You could really feel the tension between that scene and that moment. It was super, very amazing, to be honest with you. It was super honest, super great. I thought that one takeaway from that is that we don't get that from very animated movies. I think it's really hard to encapsulate human emotion when it's like through an animation like that, but they did an amazing job doing that, proving that you are able to do something like that. Some of the old cast comes back, but honestly, they put a lot of a new cast to the forefront. It's not the older version from the first movie. It's actually a new one. Like, they introduced Spider-Punk, and I really enjoyed how they introduced these characters. A little bit of a backstory, and then they got right back into the movie. I really enjoyed that. They didn't take too much time into. It's kind of like, if you want to go see and go research who this person is or who the Spider-Man version is, you can do so. We'll give you a little bit of a tidbit exactly of who they are, so we can get it back into the narrative and what's going on here. I thought that it was a good way of them to not slow down pacing, but keep the pacing going in a direction where it feels nice and smooth. It doesn't take away too much, and we're not going towards all these other Spider-Man. As far as the action goes, I wouldn't say this movie is very action oriented. I thought this movie was very narrative driven, especially because we're trying to develop these characters. This is what the movie even felt like. This felt like, hey, we're gonna establish who these characters are. We're gonna make you even care about them more. We're gonna give them more backstory. We're gonna create the universe behind it. We're gonna create exactly what's going on with this person, and create motives for everybody around. And I thought they did a great job in doing so. Because of that, they didn't create action scenes. There weren't so many, so just expect that if you're gonna go and watch this movie. I really got to feel the tension between Spider-Gwen and Miles Morales this time around. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that relationship. It started to develop, especially since you saw a lot of chemistry in the first one. Now we're a little more older, time has passed, we're getting into our abilities, and you really get to see that between them. Spider-Gwen has been doing her own things. Once you get to watch the movie, you'll see exactly what I mean. She's been going on doing her own missions, and a part of this collective that has started. And you really see herself in creating her own identity. It isn't just, oh, this is another a Spider-Man version. This is actually a version of this person who's actually their own character, their own identity, their own story, and their own origin story. So it's really cool to see that. It isn't just like, oh, one little thing was changed from the origin story. No, this is actually an entire character going through a whole metamorphosis, and actually seeing that between Miles and her, going kind of through the same thing, trying to learn the ropes, if you will, about how to be a more efficient, superhero, and you really get to see that between them. So it's a dynamic that's really good that's being displayed in this movie. Especially, you get to see it from a woman's version, and you get to see it from a man's version. So it's really cool to see that, and especially that chemistry that they have. Hopefully, in the third installment, they'll actually have that grandest kiss, because we can all see that coming. So I'm excited to see that develop, and hopefully my boy gets it done. I do gotta say, as far as a villain of the story, as far as is there a one enemy in the story, you're gonna be surprised about that, because there isn't just one enemy in the story. There's multiple versions depending on how you look at things and what perspective you take on it. There's definitely a lot of things that could be. It's not even an enemy story, it's just people against another person's point of view. It's not just one enemy. It's a culmination of different factors going into it. So many things going on, so many storylines being driven, so many things being affected by them opening the multiverse, that you don't get to realize how many actual people are getting affected by that. And as a matter of fact, one of the villains start off that way, being affected by the multiverse, being like, no one knows actually the destruction that these superheroes are doing. No one knows about when skyscrapers are falling, things are blowing up, what people are getting actually affected from that. They cannot save everybody, and you get to see that in this movie for sure. The people that they weren't able to see, the people that you don't see in the forefront, the people that you don't see in the movie at all. You actually get to see the story of who are they now, and what they have become after explosions going on, after buildings collapsing, after Spider-Man fought his enemies. You really get to see exactly what the people on the ground have been experiencing since then. I thought it was a good villain story. We'll get to see a little bit more down the road, especially with this movie coming out, and especially for a third installment finally, being revealed. It's exciting to see a lot more of this Spider-Man version, because I'm really enjoying the narrative and all the actors who are in it, and all the just exactly who they opened up so much. Once you get to see the movie, you'll see exactly what I mean, because you see like all the Spider-Man, the different versions of the different multiverses. Like, you can really do anything, especially because this is an animated movie. The who knows, imagination is the limit, and it's just all the possibilities can go on. There's a lot of surprise cameos in this movie, which is really exciting to see. I do not want to spoil it. I do not want to do it. I want you guys to go see it for yourselves. But there's so many cameos in here, and it's so exciting that they're interconnecting all these type of different Spider-Man, and exactly what they're going to be doing with them. And hopefully we get to see something come to life, come to fruition with this going on. This movie is going to be very important as far as Spider-Man down the road in animation and kind of movies in general. I feel like this is going to be a super amazing way of kind of connecting all those together, connecting all the pieces. There's so many characters you get to see. There's so many different versions of the Spider-Man. There's so many different stories that can be told throughout this whole entire universe. If they're able to capitalize on that, it's really amazing to see that, especially being in an animation, you get to do whatever you want. So it's exciting to see what down the road is going to be, and what things are going to be connected as far as that. I do got to say, I do have some gripes with this movie. Like I said earlier, one of the things is there is no one villain, or there is no one entity that you can kind of see that is the bad version. There is just multiple versions of things that are going on. A bunch of just bad things going against our superhero here. And for that, I just feel like sometimes the narrative tends to become unfocused in that way. And for this to be a movie that's kind of developing these characters, it kind of, because they're doing that, it takes away from the movie in itself. It almost feels like a not complete story, and you can really tell that, especially in this movie. That's what the unfortunate thing is about. This is one of the gripes I have with this movie. This is why I can't say it's a perfect movie, because you can tell that they're kind of not letting you see all the pieces to kind of save it for later, and I think that's really sucks. But I'm looking at this movie as just itself. I'm not looking at it as the collective of three or whatever it is going to become later down the road. I'm looking at what this movie is by itself. So I'm rating it based upon that. I think that because of that, and we're looking at this as a standalone, because the narrative is in that way and is structured in that way, it kind of takes a lot away from what could have been. We get to see movies like Infinity War, where all the characters in the Avengers got to fight Thanos, and there was this big climactic fight, and then the movie ended. Sometimes it almost feels like this Spider-Man movie, there wasn't that buildup, there wasn't that fight that was just like, oh my god, and then it ends. No, it almost feels like it's missing a whole part of it, and it sucks because that really takes away from it all for me personally. I know a lot of people are enjoying it. A lot of people are giving it high reviews, but not for me. I got to look at it that way. I got to look at it as a whole and a complete. And unfortunately, this time around, it just didn't hit the mark in that way where the first one had an entire, actual full circle moment in this time. So, just expect that. Expect that it just feels like it's missing a lot of things that are going on. It's still a fantastic movie narratively. It's still a fantastic movie visually. It's still a fantastic movie as far as character development. But as far as the movie feeling complete, it does not feel that way, and I have to take away from that. With that, all that being said, I really enjoyed the movie. I really want to see exactly where they go with this. I want to know exactly what's going to become of the Spider-Verse, the multiverse, whatever they're calling it. I'm excited to see what's down the road. What are they going to be connecting together? And I'm just really excited for animation in general. This was a beautiful movie visually, and I can't wait to other movies get inspired of it. I mean, we got to see that with the Puss in Boots movie. They were inspired by that, and look at that movie. That movie was kind of underratedly fantastic, and it was amazing visually as well. So hopefully other movies can take away from this kind of Trojan horse of a movie and continue kind of inspire other people. I mean, I feel inspired just by watching it. So my rating of this movie is definitely going to be a 8.7. You guys need to go check it out. And when you go check it out, come back to this video. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about what happened, what you saw, what do you have expectations for down the road. And with that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.